Welcome to Let's Talk AI. I'm Hewie Poplock. This is a class from the Sarasota Technology User Group on AI, where we discuss and talk about AI. It's not a training session. It's not a set class. We mostly talk about various things we've tried. I try to give you some examples of things that I have done, try to put together some things for you to check out to make it easier for you. And I'm glad you're here. I'm also recording this, so if you're watching it on the recording, you should be able to find each of the items that I'm talking about as well. So let me get started with a couple of things. Let me share my screen. So you're seeing my Hewie.net, I hope. And if you'll notice that I do have AI news here. And that's where I'm trying to put things about AI. Now, this is an AI graphic that ChatGPT put together for me, and we'll look at some others. What I've been doing is, if we go down here to last month, I was taking each individual video and giving it a space with its two-sentence description and a link to it and so on. Well, you know what? That's a lot of work, and a lot of you aren't using it anyway. So you're not clicking on the videos. A few of you are. And so what, and this month there were so many videos. I made a list of the ones that I thought were worth watching, and I threw away the ones that I didn't think were worth watching that I also looked at, and I ended up with 65 in the list. Well, instead of doing that for each one, what I did is I put together a spreadsheet that has the title of the video and then a link to it and a description. Well, if you click the link here, nothing's going to happen. But this is a PDF. You can download the PDF right here. If you click that, now it's the downloaded version. Now I can click on one of these. We'll come back here. And you can also, if you'll see down here, one page of 8. So if I hit next, it does the next page. So you can see each of the pages to see if you want to download it or not. But it will give you the name of the video, a link to it, and then a two-sentence description of what it is. Some of these are really well done. Now, I am going to caution you on on a few things. One is some of them don't speak English very well. And so what I always do is I turn on the closed captioning. Number two is if they're of the younger set, they talk fast. And some of them even increase the speed. So sometimes I can't quite understand what they're saying. Again, by having the captions on, that helps, but you can also slow down videos on YouTube. And I think I've shown you how to do that. If you have a problem with that, I can do that again. And let's see, what else do I want to remind you of with these? Just take a look at them. And I actually watch them on my TV. I use the YouTube app on my TV, depending upon whether you have a Roku TV, a Fire TV, and some of the other, there's a Google TV, there's a couple others, depending upon which one. But if you go to the apps, if they haven't already installed the app for YouTube, do so. Now, there is a YouTube TV that's totally different. That is paid, but using YouTube on your TV, you can do that. So I watch these on my big screen TV in my living room there with a can of Coke or a glass of wine, and I watch some of the videos. Then I can mark them there that I want to see them again. I want to save it to later, and I end up making a whole list, and then I go back through that list. So let me go ahead and stop the share.
Huey, I got a question on that YouTube.
Okay.
You
Okay.
said you watch it on your TV and you put those videos in there. But the one on the TV, you said you don't have to pay for it?
That's correct.
Oh, well, I thought you,
You don't have to pay for it on your computer either. You go to youtube.com and you're there.
okay.
I'm not talking about YouTube TV. Now that's about
I got
85,
you.
$90. That's
Uh-huh.
different. This is just YouTube with all the videos. And uh, and I do a search on AI tools, and it'll give me a whole bunch of videos, and I try to look at when did it come out. If it came out a year ago, I probably won't look at it unless it's on my list of something to look at. But if it's 2 hours ago or a day ago, it's probably something I haven't watched, and I'll take a look at it. And then if I decide to keep it, I then tell it save for later, and I can so I then have a list of them all.
You contribute $10 a month to YouTube to get rid of the ads.
I do pay that, yes. I think it's gone up from $10 a month too. I think it's 12 or 14, but yeah, I do that because I watch YouTube all the time. But you don't have to if you don't care about the ads.
Kind of hard not to
Okay.
care about them
Yeah,
in a
that's for
negative
sure.
sense.
Okay, any other questions about what I just talked about and showed? Okay, let's go back to sharing. And I'm going to take the sound off. The reason I'm going to take the sound off is if I click on one, I don't want to have it go out because that's where I get dinged from YouTube of copyrighted material. So let's go ahead and share. And that is the Neuron, which is which is an email newsletter that I get. And this you can subscribe by clicking here. But if you look, this particular article is what AI tools are Neuron readers actually paying for? Well, if you want to know what things are being used out there, this is a good article. And there's a link to it in the newsletter. And some of the things they ask about are, there's how much do you spend? Well, most people will spend the $20, but it gets fewer and fewer as the amount goes up. Then, so the new neuron, let me make this larger too by doing this and bring it over. Here's the big three most people are paying for ChatGPT. And again, that's a link. So if I clicked on that and I say open in a new tab, we can then go over here and you're going to see the tab where it is. Now, we were talking about, I'm going to go off on a tangent now. On mine, I see what's up here is
Right.
ChatGPT 4.5 was a down arrow there, and I can choose
Yeah.
which one I want.
Yeah. I logged into my ChatGPT account just now, and I have that ChatGPT thing up there. But when you do the drop down, the only thing that drops down is an option to upgrade to the pro version.
Okay. I think there's a way around that, but I don't remember what it
And
is.
then I asked it what version I was using, and it said that if you're using the free version, you're likely using 3.5.
Right. Okay. But anyway, 4.0 is what I'm using here. And the thing I like about it is the fact that I can see all the things I've been doing. So here was a presentation script request. And I said, well, you can see I've done a lot here. I'm in the process of putting together, uh, is give me a script for a presentation based on the article and then a particular article. And then it gave me a bunch of information. It actually gave me the whole script.
Well,
Then,
now, Hugh, is that the free one you're using or that's the paid one?
no, this is the paid one using four. I think I was using 4.0. I might have been using 5.0, but this part of it I think you can do in the free version. Okay, but some of the things I'm going to show now, and I said this article is very complete, but was not on topic. It wasn't what I asked for. So I said, uh, I gave it a little bit more information about it. It then said, thanks for clarifying, and then asked me a couple of questions. I answered the questions, and then it gave me another whole set of information for the slides.
Oh, wow.
And then when I finished, let's get down to the bottom here because it's a lot of information. I'm going to pare that down, of course. says, "You're very thorough. Can you give me PowerPoint slides for all 9 of what they showed me with, as you can see, they have slide 8 and then slide 9." So I said, "Give me a power." So here are the PowerPoint slides for your presentation, and you click it and you download it.
Oh my gosh. How can I get that? ChatGPT.
This is the magic of AI. And then
I
it
mean,
says, okay, then it says, looks like PowerPoint's animation and transition effects aren't fully supported in this environment. However, I was able to add a thumbnail. This is what it said, a thumbnail image to each slide as requested. And it really didn't do that, but it gave me an update. And then, so here's how you can easily add animation. So it gives me the step-by-step if I want to add animations to go from one slide to the other. And then I said, I want a thumbnail for the cover. So let's see, it says, let me generate a custom thumbnail image for your, and it said, what do you want? What would you like in this thumbnail? So I gave it some, let me know and I'll generate it. So I misunderstood you, got it. In other words, I'm having a conversation with it. And then it gave me all of the illustration style images, but it didn't give me the images. So what I had to do then is I'll generate these illustrations. Let's start with the first few and then make sure you like the style. And so it gave me one. And then I said, okay, perfect for the thumbnail. Give me one for each slide. And it only gave me one. It gave me another, but it gave me one. So I said, well, I thought you were going to give me an image for each slide. Please do so. It says, and it gave me the images. And I said, well, create the next one. So what I did is I came back up here and I took each one of these and asked for them separately. And it created each of the images that I'm going to use in this slideshow, which should be ready next week. And I'll be using on Tech for Senior. It says, and then it says, you're going to give me all of the PowerPoint slides. I did not it's supposed to be I did not get the slide. Oh, I did not get the slides to download. Can you try again? So it said, please upload all of the illustrations. So I had to go and download each of the illustrations. They didn't come properly. So I actually got out of this and I went back into doing it from the website, and all the stuff was there. And I said, okay, I uploaded them, create the slides, and then it says download the presentation. So I've got the presentation with the pictures on each one. And I'll just do that again. Code interpreter. It already expired, and I may have moved it, so I don't know if it's going to be in my downloads or not. So let's see. No. Downloads. Yeah, let's see, JPEG, PDF. These are PDFs. So anything that says deleted, I've already moved it into a folder. So I can't show you, but it actually gave me the entire presentation with each of the graphics on the slides. But the slides are only, a sentence or two for each one. So then I'll go back to the script and I'll edit the script and read it and then use that as my talking about the points. So all of that was done right within ChatGPT. So that's an example of how I used it in the last 24 hours or 48 hours.
Did they do it for you or you had to go in and get it done?
You saw what I asked it to do and it did it.
Oh, it did it. You just asked them. Okay.
Yeah. And if you watch Tech for Senior on Monday, you'll probably see the 10-minute slideshow that I do.
Okay. Will you show us how to load that on? Like I want to get the best one. I want to get one that's gonna be good for doing some stuff I'm trying.
Again, you got to play with it. It's not going to work just the way you want the first time. So the more you use it, the better you're going to be working with it. Bill, anything you want to add to what I'm saying? Or I know you're using it more than as much or more than I am.
Well, one issue is I'm willing to pay $20 a month, but with all of these large language models to choose from, which one should I use? And it sort of seems like ChatGPT is the one to use. It's kind of like a Microsoft Office professional type of thing where you have all these different tools within ChatGPT so that you can sort of guide people towards the most useful chatbot to purchase.
Okay, and while we're talking about that, Drew, go ahead.
Well, one thing to also consider when choosing, and I don't know, Huey could probably answer this more, because I'm not a subscriber. If you pay Microsoft the I think it's actually more than $100 now because when they added the Copilot in, you now have essentially ChatGPT 4, plus the Copilot features. Is that enough to offset? Do you get everything that you would get if you paid the $20 to ChatGPT?
I don't know the answer to that, and that's something I'm finding that in each case it's different. In other words, ChatGPT might do really well with one particular item that I'm trying to accomplish, and Copilot will do something else better. So
Mm.
it's difficult to pinpoint. But what I want to show you is something else, and there's a lot of these out there, and it's under tools. But let's see, this is a tool directory. I'm not sure if this is what I want, what I'm thinking it is or not. But let's go ahead and so I'm going to share my screen, whole screen. Can you mute yourself if you're talking to somebody else in the room, please? And I am going to put this. This was in the newsletter as a link as well.
Yes, after you finish that, I'm gonna do that.
I'm going to mute her if I can find her in my list here. There it is. Oh, she
I
is
got it.
muted now. Okay, thanks. Okay, this is an AI tools directory, and you can select a category, and you can see, and then here's the latest AI and what their selections are and super tools. But let's take a look at, let's say, a Claude AI. I'm not sure what it's going to do when I do this. It actually takes you there. I think visit the site.
Now, what is this? We're out of Chat GPT. What is this one here?
I just explained that's the AI Exploria that I posted in the newsletter.
Okay.
And so what it is, it's a list of all different tools, and you can click and it'll take you that particular tool. Now, that particular tool you may have to register for. It may not be free. Ideogram is one I like to use. They do have a free, and you can visit the site, and it'll tell you what, most likely, you may have to register to be able to use it. I believe this is one I'm registered. Does it know it's me? I'm not sure. Home creations. Let's go to creations. Yeah, it is. It knows it's me because I've been there before, because there's different things that I have created using this particular tool.
Huh.
So what this is it's a list of all the tools. Let's come back. I want to come back here. This is a list of all the different tools and what you might use them for.
Okay.
And then see the full list of AI. So if you want to really play with AI, you can narrow it down. Here's the latest AI, the latest items, the top 50 trends, image generators, writing and web SEO, which are search engine optimization, AI chat and assistant, video generators, text to speech, education and studies, e-commerce, AI detection. These are all AI tools that do these particular items. So what you might be interested in, you might be able to find something. It may not be free, but it certainly will tell you, a lot of them let you try it for free or so on, or you can at least see what they do. And get an idea. Is that something I want to pay for? Am I going to make some money on it? Is it something that I really want to have? Then you can decide whether you want to pay for it or not. But you can
Have,
see search engine, you can see all the different topics, and it gives each one of them a link to get to that particular one.
have you taken a look at Adobe Firefly?
Yes, I have.
And what do you think of it?
It's rated as one of the better ones.
No, Adobe is a completely different thing than this stuff you're talking about here.
I'm sorry.
What he's talking about, Adobe, it's,
Yeah, that's one of the graphic. Let's see if I can find the graphics up here. Image
Image,
generators, and it's right here.
oh, I see. It's one of the tools. That's
Yeah,
it.
and there's MidJourney, there's Stable Diffusion, Leonardo AI, which I use quite a bit, Ideogram, or Ideogram, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Flux is one that I use within other ones. Reeve Image I've used, Recraft I've used, FreePick I've used, and FreePick is one. Let's see if that is. Let's click on it and see. FreePick. Um,
Hmm.
So
some of these.
that list was actually a ranking, was it? And the Adobe one was at the
I
top?
I am not totally sure. You'll have to look to see. But I'm still on AI Exploria, and this is one called Free Pick. There are some out there. What I was trying to find, and I think Free Pick is one. Let's take a look at it.
Here, I
Okay,
got
we're
a
now.
problem with this many. Do they tell you, you're just looking at the heading or topic, do they tell you what the what's in that tool before you go through each one? There's a ton of them. How
Well,
am I
that's
Well,
supposed to know which one is good unless I look through that whole shooting match instead of have a topic that says this is used for, it's just specialized. The world is
well,
specializing now.
they were listed by category. All graphics programs or picture programs were together.
Uh-huh.
right
So,
here. So these are image generators, and
Image generators.
there
Image
that
of what? Generators?
of anything.
Oh,
You generate images with it. You create images.
any images. Okay.
And this is only 10 of them. There are a total of 208 in this list. So if we click that, these are all image generators. Well,
Uh-huh.
let's see. They're here, and there's 18 pages of them. Let's go to page 18. So there's all different kinds that do different things a little bit differently. Some are free, some are not free. Some you got to register, even if you're going to most of them you have to register, even if you're going to use the free port.
Uh-huh.
So what I do is every time I go to a new one, I open up my password manager and I make sure that I write in what email address I'm using and what the password is I'm using for that particular site. So
Wow.
anyway,
You're using
okay.
so many different passwords and
Oh, it's
oh my
in the
gosh,
pro.
you're drowning in passwords
Oh,
and they're giving you this whole list of stuff without telling you specifically. If I want to look up a medical terminology or medical stuff, give me one of those things that says the topic. This is medical stuff, or this is poetry,
that's
or
why
this is.
you go to a website like that and you do a search. I can't do it for you here because we got people that might not be interested in what you're talking about. But
Well, it's
what
gonna be
hang
easy.
on, let me finish. Let me finish my answer.
Uh,
Uh what I want to show you, just to show you, I have my AI bookmarks. I just want you to see. I don't remember what all these are, and I'm trying to figure that out. So yes, there's a lot of them. If I go to it once and I register, I may not remember that particular one does something. So I'm trying to get a way of keeping track of some of these things. But as you see, as I scroll down, I have bookmarked a lot of AI websites and I've been to every one of these. So
oh,
it's not an easy task. but it is a task that you have to take on and decide when you go to one, is this going to be one that I want to use or not use? And there are tools like that particular one that I just showed you, Free Pick, and there are others. I have, let me come here, and I have AI tools, and I have AI, let's see, and they are here. These are all tools that will do the same thing. Here's Free Pick is one of them. Learn text skills, Founder, MidJourney prompt tool. I'm just trying to find one that might. Future Tools is one I like, and he does news articles for the week, but he also does AI news and then videos. Let's see, somewhere's the feature tools. Go back here, and you can do a search on anything you're looking for. So you wanted something medical?
Right, or you want if you're a poetry person and you want to write a nice poem, which one of those things would I click that would help me, whatever I'm looking
I'm
for?
sorry,
If
your
you're
microphone.
writing just a poem, if you're poetry, if you're a sewing person, if you're a lot of the people there may have hobbies that they may do, and they may want to go to a specific one of those things to help them with their hobbies. That would be interesting if they tell
That's
you
correct.
this is the one you do. This is the one you go to if you're looking for sewing stuff, if you're looking for art stuff, whatever art. If you're looking
Okay.
for,
Okay. Let's stop right there. I'm putting in sewing in the search box. And if I come down here, there's no tools for sewing. Give me another one.
say I like to write poetry. I don't write poetry,
Okay.
but say I'm looking for poetry, poems.
Okay. Poetry. There's one that they recommend.
Yeah,
Imagine
that's
ChatGPT and Siri had a baby. That's Zenon. And then when you click on that, and then it'll give you a couple of sentences, and then you can go look at the website by clicking here, and it will take you there. Now, what this has to do with poetry, I have no idea. Somewhere's it picked it up. So that's what you have to do. And there's several of those kind of tools out there or lists. And I think in some of the previous videos that I've done, I think I've noted some of those, and I'll have to try to put together a list of those. But there's future tools, and there are several others that give you a whole list of tools that are out there, and then you can search them and find the one that'll do what you want to do. So this one, you got gaming, inspiration, generative art, motion capture, self-improvement. So if you're interested in self-improvement, you just click that and it'll show you a whole bunch of AI websites that have to do with self-improvement.
that's what I mean. Okay.
Yeah.
And Matt,
Kathleen, you have your hand up.
Yes, this may not be, what do I want to say, politically correct, but I wanted to remind Dee that there are 14 other people here, and I would like to hear from many more people than just yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
I agree
All right.
with you. Go, take it away.
Okay, so we were back here, and so you can look for various topics, and you can search. You can look at a whole category for email things that say write email. There's 55 of them, and then there's a list of them, and then you can also search here and search by topic. So if we want to, let's see. Files. We talked about spreadsheets earlier. So now we've got all of these, and then you can actually then search for something. Let's do Excel. See what we get. Files and spreadsheets, verified and popularity. I'm not, yeah, okay. We don't even have to click on anything, but let's do it. See what, yeah, there we go. So then for under Excel, it gives me a whole bunch that I might try, and there's 6 pages of them. Okay, let's unravel here. All right, comments, questions? Bill?
I was going to say this is a little bit like 1995 when the internet first popped up, and you had people making a special interest group for the internet. And so the question is, how do you say you were going to be talking about the internet? How are you going to break it up so it's relevant to people? That's the same kind of situation you have with this AI. It's so broad and does so many things. Somehow you have to categorize the things that it's able to do.
Absolutely, and you have to search on those and find the ones you want. Everybody is looking for something different that's going to be useful for them. And so
Well,
what I'm trying to do in this group is where we talk about, how do I narrow it down, or how do I find something, or this is something I've tried and I really like it, that sort of thing.
a couple of main divisions is, are you going to be working with graphics or are you going to be working with words? That's two completely separate ways of segmenting what AI can do. That's a start anyway. And another division might be computer code. That's a whole thing in itself, dealing with code.
And creating, there's some that you can say, right, I want a website for my business. And then you type in, it'll ask you some questions. What's the name of the business? What's your address? What do you sell? What do you do on this? What do you want to use the website for, and so on? You give it questions, you answer questions and put information up there, and it'll write you all of the code and uh, finalize it. And then you can take that and it'll say, do you want me to create the website for you? And it actually will create it for you. It may not be exactly the way you want it, but then you got to figure out how to edit it and make changes in it. So yeah, there's a lot of coding on writing programs and so on. You don't have to know coding to do that, but you've got to have an idea of what you want at the end. You want this program to do, and I'm really not getting into coding at all, so I really haven't spent any time on that. And coding means write the underlying code for a particular program or a web page and so on. Now I'm sharing my screen, and let's go back to here, and let me go back to where I was. Superhuman, where you have all these different topics and how many that are just some prompts or suggestions for prompts. And again, this link is with this picture is in the newsletter that you got in the last couple of days. Okay, so we've got that, and I went ahead and I copied, and I want the education, ChatGPT and education, and I writing and editing aids, and I picked this one: generate a list of descriptive phrases to enhance a real estate listing, and I copied that. I'll make sure. Yep, I got it there. So now we're going to go to Perplexity AI, which is just another chat bot. And it looks like all the other ones. And I'm going to paste, generate a list of descriptive phrases to enhance a real estate listing. And we do that. Here's a whole bunch of things that you can add in your description. So you're selling your house or you're helping somebody sell their house. You might want to add these type of comments in your description. And you don't have to use Perplexity, use any one you want. So that's in writing and editing aids. Create a checklist for proofreading and editing academic papers. All right. Or edit proofreading or a checklist for anything. But let's go ahead and do that. Control C. and let's do ChatGPT this time. So, and I'll just put in there, I'll paste that in, and I'll hit the up arrow. There's the checklist. And it has everything here. Would you like me to tailor it to a specific type of academic paper or subject area? So in other words, it sees what you want, and it wants to ask if you want to fine tune it to a certain particular topic or whatever. It may give you a section like that. Now, what I'm reading in most of the articles about prompts, what I'm seeing is, let's go ahead first and click here, and we want a new conversation. We're going to go back to nothing on here, and I'm going to say, give me a prompt that will, anyone got a suggestion? Unmute yourself and just
Produce
talk.
a limerick.
Oh, that will. That'll give me a limerick. So here's some prompts. Write a witty and humorous limerick about, and then you put a topic. Make sure it follows the classic limerick structure, 5 lines with an AABBA rhyme scheme. So let's see if you want something more specific. Write a limerick about a clumsy pirate who keeps dropping his treasure. Useful, playful, and exaggerated language. Let's go ahead and just take that just to start. And we'll put that in here. There once was a pirate named Lou, whose hands were as slippery as goo. He'd plunder with cheer, but drop all his gear. His treasure now rests in the blue. Okay, and coming back up here, let's take this. And paste this in. Then we're going to put here under topic of your choice. We're going to say we want a humorous limerick about not a learning, but learning AI. And let's see what we come up with. There once was a coder named Ray who taught AI tricks every day, but try as he might, it learned overnight, and now it knows more than old Ray. So use the point I'm trying to make is, let me go ahead and stop the share. There we go. The point I'm making is use the chat programs of the bots or AI to write prompts for you. And if it doesn't give you the answer you want, say you want more detail or you want something changed in it, and let it create the prompt for you. And then you can say, make it more detailed or add this in. In other words, you can read what it's giving you and then tell it to enhance that, or say, no, that's not quite what I want. Here's what I want. Just like you would be asking me that same question, but ask it by typing or speaking in the chat box by hitting the microphone, but either one, and let it write the prompt for you and then type that in and have it do it. You're all sitting there trying different things, aren't you?
That is an outstanding
Harry,
tip.
go ahead. Harry, you got your hand up.
Just a very quick observation. I don't know if it was Steve or somebody early on asked something that I had been wondering about myself. And I just asked ChatGPT if when I generate something, will it add it into ChatGPT's database for future use? And it says, no, it doesn't. Now, let's assume that's true. I don't know if it is or not, but let's assume it's true. Interesting. So Bill says, write me a limerick about a pirate and so on. And suppose 92 other people around the globe ask for this, let's say, ask for a lyric about the same topic. This implies that there's a good chance that 92 people will all get different limericks. Interesting.
Yep. Let me, there is write a witty and humorous. Go ahead, and each of you do that in any one of the chat programs that you'd like to try it with. And then I'll have a few of you read the ones you got. It shouldn't take but a couple of seconds to do it. Just copy and paste it right into ChatGPT or Copilot or Perplexity AI. What are some of the other ones that any of the ones that you like to use or you know about? Anybody want to read what they got?
Hang on, I need a few more seconds.
Okay. Lee, did you try it?
All right. So
Oh, okay.
I
All right. Go ahead, Drew.
here is a witty and humorous limerick about learning AI. This is from Perplexity. There once was a coder named Lee who taught his old laptop to see, but when it gained thought, it asked what's for naught. Now Lee's taking orders from me.
Okay.
That's interesting because mine started off with Lee as well. It said there once was a coder named Lee who taught bots to think like a bee, but the AI got snarky and now it's quite sparky. It's plotting to take over TV.
Harry, you had your hand up? Unmute yourself if you got an answer. Bill?
There once was a student, this is Claude. There once was a student of AI whose models kept learning awry. The code wouldn't train, causing digital pain till they fixed it with one more try.
Anybody else have one they want to share? Harry? You need to unmute yourself, Harry.
A young coder from old Kathmandu taught an AI to tie his own shoe. It learned with great flair, but tripped down the stair. Now it lectures on how not to do. With your permission, just very quickly, I want to amend what I said before. That ChatGPT said that in my account, it'll save everything that I generated, but it will not add those items into ChatGPT's database for future use.
Yes, and let me kind of show what you just said by sharing my screen again and share. Okay, you'll notice here in Copilot to the left here are because I have the paid version, so because of Microsoft 365, I believe, but I think otherwise, you can click on the plus here and then if you don't see that, it will give you a little uh, clock type of thing or arrow, circled arrow. You click that and it'll show you all of your past Copilot items that you did. That's Copilot. Okay, you can see here in my Chat GPT are all the things that I've covered. So I can go back to any one of these and let's see, upscaling charts with text. So here's, I go to the top. What can I use upscale a chart with a lot of text in it to upscale a chart? And it gave me some answers and so on. So in other words, it keeps track, especially if you register and set up an account with it, it'll remember it, but it doesn't share it with others.
Bill has his hand up.
Yeah, let me stop share. I got to find where the buttons are here. There we go. Okay, Bill.
I was going to say, you can ask it, what do you know about me?
Oh yeah, that's fun. Especially ChatGPT is real good at. I said, "Well, what do you know about me?" And it gave a whole uh, interesting information. I don't want to share that because I think it also gives you the date of birth and all kinds of information. Uh, so you want to be careful in what you share, but you can take a look at it and see what it knows about you because it remembers not only what you uh, saved, but whatever else you've asked it. There's a lot about this stuff that's really interesting and is fun to know about. But there's so, like Bill said earlier, it is like learning the internet. I can remember I had a computer store about the time the internet was becoming popular, and we had a classroom, and one of the classes we had was beginning internet and how to use it, what email was, and so on. And now it's just part of your day. You don't even think about it.
Yeah, I think what Bill was talking about though was the World Wide Web in 95 because the internet actually started a lot sooner than that.
Yeah, well, it was I think we call it, but we call it the internet and the World Wide Web were interchangeable to the layman. Um, okay, we got about 5 more minutes. Any comments, questions? Bill?
I made a little list of just, I don't know, topics that you might get into. Good AI newsletters, good AI podcasts, good AI meetings, user groups, of which this is probably the best. Best large language models. What chatbot should I pay for? What chatbots are good for text and advice? What chatbots are good for generating images? Those particular topics might be more relevant to people than more general topics.
Yeah. If you would email that list to me,
Okay.
and if anyone else has topics that they think would be good for us to discuss here, I would be glad to entertain that. So just drop me an email. I'd say put it in the chat, but you could do that as well. Either one.
Here it comes.
But there is so much, and if you let it, it can get you can be overcome with all the information that's there. And that's why I try to show you some things that you can do to at least get started and to maybe go further in what you're doing. Just think of it, especially the chat bots. Just think of it as you're asking Hewie when Hewie isn't there. You're asking, give it a
Right.
name, Hewie 2, and then ask it a question, and it'll give you the answers you want. And then you go from there, same as you would with me. And if it doesn't understand, it may ask you some more questions about what you just asked it. And then you answer those, and then it'll give you some of the information you're looking for and how to do it and so on. I do it all the time. If I don't remember how I need to do something in Excel, I'll just say, this is what I'm trying to do in Excel. How do I do it?
Yep.
And it'll come back. And if it's not what I was looking for, it'll key some words for me to be able to reword it and ask it in a better prompt or an additional prompt. So it's just like if you were in a meeting in your user group, you raise your hand, you ask a question, and somebody says, "Well, gee, I don't know. There's a lot to that. What part of that are you looking for?" So then you give the answer, and then it says, and then somebody will give you some ideas of what you can do to solve that issue. And if it's not correct or if it's way off, you just say, that's not quite what I was looking for. And you just keep the conversation going and it'll eventually get to what you're looking for. It is just It's fun to do, and try it when you're first trying it. Try it with something you know the answer to.
I have a
Right?
quick question. Who
Sure.
who by maybe do a quick poll to see how many of you have one or more chat apps installed on your mobile device, like ChatGPT or Copilot or Perplexity or Gemini. Does anybody use it in a mobile platform?
Yeah.
Just a couple of us. I'd suggest that each of you experiment with one, and you'll see that you'll be out anywhere, not necessarily have to be in front of your computer, and have a question that you'd like to get the answer to. And instead of Googling it on your phone, you can Perplexity it on your phone, or Gemini it on your phone, or Copilot on your phone.
Well, it comes in
Um,
useful too if you're doing stuff on your computer and it's completely messed up because you tried something and you'd forgotten how the heck to correct it. You can ask your phone how to do it and get an
yeah,
answer that way.
yep.
Or if you're out somewhere, because you're on different programs all the time, they probably look to you to answer questions about computers. And you just, gee, I don't know the answer to that. So you open up your Perplexity or your Chat GPT on your phone. You look,
Hmm.
you write in the question they just asked you, and it gives a whole answer. And he says, "Oh, let me email you how to do that." I was uh, at dinner on Easter Sunday, and the lady who was sitting next to me, you're two seats down, said, "I have an old tablet that I got from uh, Verizon many years ago, and I want to give it to somebody or get rid of it, but I want to make sure all my information is gone. How do I clean it off?" Well, I never heard of it, that
Mm.
particular brand. So when I got home, and I could have done it there, but when I got home, I went ahead and I asked her to send me the exact model and brand. And so she sent me an email with that. So I just typed in, how do I wipe, an ellipse is the name of the uh, tablet, and the model number, and she gave me the model number, and I typed that in. How do I wipe this to get the information off? Because I want to give it away, or I'm answering the question for somebody who wants to give it away, either one. And I typed that in, and it gave me step by step. I emailed that to her, and I said, try this. And she emailed me back and said, perfect, it worked, and I'm all set.
Uh,
It was like I knew the answer. Well, I didn't know the answer, but I knew how to ask and get it and then send it to her.
I've gotten to the point where I'm not too shy to ask ChatGPT a question right at a customer's office.
Yep.
They're looking for me to get the solution to their problem done as quickly as possible, get off the clock.
Absolutely.
You
Any
know,
other
Huey,
final comments?
yes, Huey, I want to thank you for the link to that AI Exploria. It's like the Rosetta Stone for me because it has all the different ones, but categorized. It's got AI tutorials. I mean, for me, it gave me traction. I'm going with it now. So thank you.
You're welcome, but you kind of faded out. And I see, Bill, you're having the same problem. Yeah, something with your microphone just kind of faded out. I thought maybe the batteries were going out on my headset, but I saw Bill playing with his too. So I heard most of what you said, Jeff. You're welcome, and I'm glad it helped. There are other ones like that out there. I actually did a whole video on some of the ones where you can find them, and I subscribe to a whole bunch of newsletters that all every every day or every week or every couple of days when it comes out, it lists different places where you can find more of these. So it's there's so much information out there.
all it needs now is for somebody to write a script to put a prompt into all of those that are in the Exploria.
Yep.
I would say that Neuron newsletter is somehow I relate to it the best. The way they present information is understandable.
Yeah, and the Superhuman also has a lot of good links on things that get updated and changed and so on. Those are two that I really like. Yeah. And there are several others I subscribe to. All right. Thank you very much for joining. This has been Let's Talk AI from the Sarasota Technology User Group. I'm Hewie Poplock. We do this once a month. We're glad you were able to watch, whether were here in person or you're watching on YouTube. We do it again next month, and we do every month as well as posting them on YouTube. Learn what you can with AI and play with it as much as you want.